All right, it's week 3 of the fantasy football season. We're here to help you with setting your lineups and winning this week. Let's get right to it.
The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour with your hosts, Joe Bond and AJ Applegarth.
Touchdown! All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me tonight, back from whatever he was doing last week, AJ Applegarth. What's up, man?
What's going on? I was a belated anniversary gift for my wife. We went to the Edgar Allan Poe Speakeasy show up in Wilmington, Delaware. It was pretty awesome. Not going to lie. They had 4 stories that they read off or acted out, I guess. And they had a signature cocktail for each one of them. So it was good. It was pretty good.
All right.
The show was pretty good too.
Not just the booze. All right.
Yeah,
Corey
the booze
Pieper,
definitely got better as they went on.
I don't have anything cool to say about going to Edgar Allan Poe readings, but just over here watching Devon Achane not get the ball for Ollie Gordon, so that's awesome. But otherwise,
by the way, before the little backstage action for everybody, Corey's been complaining about this for the last 15 minutes before the show. It's been pretty awesome.
Still complaining. 5 carries to 5 carries for some reason here for a team that's getting beat 14-7, and your coach is about to get fired. So let's give the ball to our not as good of player. Makes sense. AJ, what's your favorite Edgar Allan Poe story?
My favorite, I don't know. I mean, obviously the Raven it's got to be up there.
Classic.
But they did the Fall of the House of Usher. And I think that one is actually it right now. They had the special on, I believe it was Netflix, that was really good. But the story, that kind of expanded out into a bunch of stuff to make the show longer, obviously. But the reading itself is basically just about the house. So it was pretty cool. That one's my current. My wife's is Annabelle Lee, so.
I was a big fan of the Cask of Amontillado. That was always my favorite.
They did that one as well. Those 3 are the ones they did, and then I forget what the first one was. It'll come to me later.
All right. Just football?
I don't know anything about this.
I don't know.
I'm so lost.
Really. I don't. Who wants to talk to football?
Oh, man. It's always a good time to talk football.
Oh, there's Ollie Gordon again. Your favorite player, Corey.
I am
every time.
6 carries for 24. 6 carries already. For some reason. Don't know why.
All right, let's get into some rankings talk here. Some guys that I'm a little higher on than others, lower than others as well. What you guys got from me?
Starting with running back? I think we start with running back, right?
It's up to you guys, man. It don't matter to me. Just tell me to get some timestamps this time.
Okay. How about we look at someone that you are higher on than the consensus? And Joe has Tony Pollard 5 above the consensus. Joe, you have him at, I believe, 15. And the consensus has him down at 20. Tennessee takes on the 2-0 Indianapolis Colts. No. Is that right? So,
correct.
Yeah. What do we like about Tony Pollard? Just a matchup or the usage? He's been getting
a little bit of
a lot.
matchup. Yeah, a little bit of matchup. Indy right now is hang on. I had this sorted incorrectly. Yeah, here we go. Indy's ranked 25th for DVOA in run defense right now. So not a great run defense. And then yeah, I mean you kind of alluded to it, right? It's heavy volume. Didn't do a whole lot last week, unfortunately, with any of that. But Spears is still hurt. There's just nobody else there. I think if they want to have any chance of winning this game at home, they're going to have to lean on Tony Pollard. Cam Ward is still just not truly ready to take over games, in my opinion. And so, we've seen that with Ridley struggling, and AMNR is doing okay. Scored last week, but that's pretty much the only bright spot that they've got going on in the passing game right now. So, Pollard's I think there's just a little overreaction to last week.
92 yards rushing last week, it looks like, on 16 carries. It's not bad. And the first week, he had about the same use. He just fumbled the ball. He had about the exact same yardage, but he fumbled the ball. That was
yeah.
If we get in the end zone here. Eventually, Daniel Jones won't, or eventually, we'll see if we can get him in here. AJ, you want to take the lower one?
Yeah. That was Mr. Rams himself, Kyron Williams, at 3 under ECR. What gives?
Yeah, so his matchup this week is Philly, and I'm throwing the first game out the window for Philly's defense and the run game against Dallas. Javonte is obviously, and that run game is obviously better than we thought. Although, I mean, it's still the Giants, right? I mean, their front is pretty solid, but we know how much better the Philly run defense is when Jalen Carter is there. So I'm throwing that game out the window for them, and so Kyron's still going to get a lot of usage here. Pretty much all the usage in that Rams backfield. So he's got that going for him, but it's a really tough matchup. And I think if you want to beat this Philly team, you're going to have to pass the ball, and they've got Puka and Devonta Adams to help them do that. So I think that's the way they're going to go mostly. And really it's going to have to be Kyron, near the goal line, catching some passes and maybe falling into the end zone to kind of beat this ECR of his.
That could certainly happen. Got a couple comments here. Albert, always here. Nice to see you. Hello. And I'm going to butcher your name, buddy. Karush, I guess, has a question for us all. Trade Chase Brown and Emeka Egbuka for Bucky Irving. He already has Tyreek, Roma Dunze, Marvin Harrison Jr., Keenan Allen, who we're going to talk about in a second here, and Kyron Williams, who we just talked about, playing one flex. So he gives up Chase Brown and Egbuka and gets back Bucky Irving.
It feels like a lot, but I don't know, man. Look, I do think this Cincy offense is going to take a step back. I've gone out on record saying that I don't think it's as drastic of a situation as people think. If you go back and look at when Jake Browning took over for the Cincinnati Bengals back in 2023, do you realize he was a QB1 5 out of the 7 of the weeks that he played? QB4, QB8, QB7. The 2 weeks he didn't, he was QB 18 and 21 against the Steelers, and the Steelers defense that year was disgustingly good. So I'm not at all super worried about this Bengals offense. Egbuka though, that's the big question mark for me. What do we expect when Godwin returns? He's been good, but it's been mostly touchdowns, right? And he is banged up right now. Dude, it's weird, but I kind of think I would do it.
AJ. I think you're muted, buddy. Or something's up there.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I don't hate
really
it.
Got nothing to say.
Yeah. I mean, you already have enough firepower, I think, in your receivers there. Egbuka, he's doing well right now, but once Godwin comes back and all that, are we are we assuming that he's still going to play as big of a role? But I like Bucky a lot, so I would do it.
Shout out to Jalen Waddle for catching a touchdown. First target of the game for him. 3 RTD here. And
Nice.
as far as
that, Miami pretty much going to the halftime with a tie here.
It's going to be tied here. I know. Pretty shocking. As far as that trade is concerned, I think Bucky is the best player in that trade. And I do still like what you have there, but I don't know. I'd probably keep Egbuka and Chase Brown, but it's pretty close there, but I'd probably keep
it. It is close.
Egbuka. Yeah.
So
okay. Back to Joe's rankings here. Jump back in, go over to wide receivers. I will take the higher one again. And a guy that we were just talking about in this trade, and that is Keenan Allen, who Joe has 5 above the consensus. Joe, you have him at where do you have him? You have him at wide receiver 26, 5 above the consensus. So just outside wide receiver 2, but very much a startable player. Is it the Lad McConkey like being nicked up type of thing? Why are we high on Keenan Allen?
I think we're seeing a lot more passing out of this Chargers offense than we thought we were. Now it seems like it's even more, and I wrote about this in the usage article that's over on Fantasy Six Pack, because he's dropping back to the pass a lot, but Herbert has 17 rushing attempts himself. So it seems like there's a lot more passing attempts. And like they kept saying it on the broadcast, like, oh, he's dropping back to pass a lot more, blah, blah, blah. Like they're not quite as run heavy. Well, I mean, kind of, but anyway, back to Keenan Allen. Denver is a really tough matchup. We know that, but he's not like, he's the third receiver when it comes to like snaps and things like that. So he's not going to get Surtain, right? He's not going to get Surtain on him. That's going to be, I mean, I would imagine Surtain probably blankets Quentin Johnston at this point. I don't see how you can let that man run free. He's been crushing people. So I think Keenan Allen has, got something going with Herbert, and I think he leads the team in targets, even though he's on the field less than both of the other two. So, I mean, yeah, I would absolutely be using him this week.
Quentin Johnston here. Took 3 years, finally learned how to catch the ball. It's a good part of playing wide receiver. So, but yeah, Keenan Allen, like ageless wonder out there.
I love Allen. Yeah. I was so high on him.
And he's seen a lot of red zone targets, by the way, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, just like I said, I was so high on him because that him and Herbert already had a great rapport. So just him coming back, it was like him, riding a bike for him and Herbert. They just got right back together, and it shows. I mean, Keenan's been awesome, definitely in the red zone as well. Johnson's getting all those, long drive throws and doing stuff with them, which is great too. So this is just a really good offense right now.
Yeah, definitely is.
So, but looking at a couple of guys that you are less high on, we've got Brian Thomas and Tet McMillan, and you are -5 or 5 under on both of them, I believe. So, I mean, let's talk about Thomas first. I mean, is that more injury related or performance rated?
Yeah, so Brian Thomas Jr. gets Houston. The matchup is sort of middle of the road, honestly. It's performance, man. Trevor Lawrence scored 21 fantasy points last week. Brian Thomas Jr. basically did nothing again. I still want to use Brian Thomas Jr. because he is seeing a boatload of targets still. And I just have to imagine they're going to figure it out. But it's like, okay, it's been 2 games. Like, if it doesn't happen next week, this weekend, I'm going to drop him to wide receiver 3, probably, depending on matchup. I haven't looked forward, but it's just, man, it's been really bad. When you're outscored by Parker Washington and De'Ami Brown, that's not good. So
yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. has wide receiver 1 upside. We all know this, but until I see it, I'm gonna be dropping him in my rankings for sure. Tetaroa McMillan gets Atlanta, and everybody kind of wants to go, oh, Atlanta, like they're a defense that you can do whatever you want on. They've actually been really good this year. They've really loaded up on that defense the last couple of the drafts, and it's showing. And so you factor that in, plus the fact that Bryce Young isn't looking good right now. The stats are there last week because he threw the ball 55 times and got 2, red zone touchdowns to Hunter Renfrow. McMillan is the wide receiver 1. He's going to see more targets than everybody, and he's still a very, very good receiver. He's made some really phenomenal plays, but I can't pick him over some of these other guys that I have ranked ahead of him right now, with how Bryce Young and this Carolina Panthers offense is looking right now.
Yeah, I don't love the Thomas injury stuff, but to me, the performance is worse right now. He's just not doing anything. So I agree with the lower ranking personally.
I think he is probably the player that I'm looking to get the lowest, if anybody in the league. 4th in air yards still, over 270, 255, 5th in air yards, excuse me. So, the balls are going there. They're going to him downfield. Yes, he completely alligator armed one where he made a business decision to not get hurt. But I think
you blame him?
I don't blame him at all.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think it'll get better. We'll get Trevor Lawrence dialed in a little bit more. Their offense, it hasn't exactly been. They've been running it through the ground more than the air. So I am still looking. I trust Brian Thomas. I'm playing him in a few spots. Yeah, I'm disappointed with the start, but I think that he'll be just fine. Let's answer some questions in the chat. Oh, no.
And I'm with you. Long term, I'm still in on Brian Thomas Jr. I'm just, at this point, look, it's probably still startable for the vast majority of managers who drafted him, but it's just one of those things. My rankings are saying I'm under average, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, below average.
Yeah, below. You being below average, yeah, we'll go with that.
Okay. Let's jump back into the chat here to answer a few of these questions. D-Money, in here most weeks. Jordan Mason or Philly, or Kyron versus Philly's defense. Well, Jordan Mason, the Vikings take on the Cincinnati Bengals.
This one's easy as Mason.
Jordan Mason. Yep. That's Jordan Mason for me, too.
Aaron Jones is out.
My answer. Definitely Mason.
Yeah, Jordan Mason's going to get all the volume with a backup quarterback. I expect he touches the ball at least 20 times. It's not.
He'll be to you, AJ. Go away.
Oh, the mute button.
Stop. All right.
Okay.
Next question.
What else we got here? BD jumping back in here. He said, mentioned it's almost Friday up above. PPR. Okay, some of these guys we already talked about. Would we trade Flowers or Tony Pollard, Zay Flowers, and the Broncos DST? This is incidentally AJ's question. For Brian Thomas Jr., James Conner, and Trey Benson. Think I know the answer I got off for this. I'm wondering if PGJ concerns are big enough to stay away. No. I want the Brian Thomas, James Conner, Trey Benson side.
I would too. I'm trading away a defense.
Yeah. That goes against everything I stand for, but especially the Broncos.
I know Zay Flowers has been awesome so far, but I still have my issues with that passing offense being something they're going to have to rely on week after week. And I just don't think they will. So Zay Flowers is going to have these games where he just does absolutely nothing. Much like Brian Thomas Jr. has done so far, but Pollard's fine. Is James Conner really that much worse than Tony Pollard? I don't know, slightly.
And you get Trey Benson. So you get both of them in Arizona, so you don't have to worry about if James Conner got hurt. At least you got Trey Benson already. That's kind of the part I like about that.
And Benson's been flex-worthy, deeper league flex-worthy.
I definitely like the running back side higher than Pollard. BTJ I like better than Flowers. So it's really just, the Broncos are kind of in there to help it out, really. I love the Broncos D, though.
If you need a defense every week, AJ will hook you up. We'll get to that later in the show here.
That's right.
A couple more. Would you trade Amon-Ra and Fields for Jamar and Kyler? Yes, I would do that. I would prefer to have Jamar Chase and Kyler Murray on my team than Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Justin Fields.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's easy.
Dion thinks that Tyreek looks like a bust. I don't know, man. What do we got for Tyreek here? I haven't been watching it. I think he's got 4 catches tonight. 4 catches for 44. He doesn't get downfield as much anymore as he used to, but that's partially because Tua has like 1.2.5 seconds to get the ball. 2.5 seconds to get the ball out.
Tua.
Yep.
Mark that.
Like right now in half PPR, he's wide receiver 20 on the season.
Yeah.
He was drafted higher than that. I didn't agree with it. I probably would have had him closer to that range. So right now he's right where he's expected. People are, still thinking, it's Tyreek Hill. He's going to be like wide receiver 1 still. But you didn't draft him there. So what are we expecting? I don't know. Yeah. I think Tyreek's still going to be fine. And you got to remember that first game. And I said it last week, Corey. Remember that first game, he got pulled. So did all the starters, like early in the fourth quarter. So all his stats were very skewed. He still had 6 targets, 4 receptions for 40 yards in that absolute disaster of a game. You got to imagine they were down big. If they were just going to play him along with Tua, he's going to get much more targets. He probably would have had a much better stat line at the end of the game, week 1. And we're talking he's probably wide receiver, 13, 14 at that point in the season instead of 20. The Miami offense is just going to be ugly this year. So I think that massive ceiling that we're used to seeing from Tyreek Hill is gone.
Yeah, I would agree with most of that. Okay, on to tight ends, unless you have something else to say. On to tight ends here as we talk about someone Joe is higher on and someone that he said lower on. A little higher on TJ Hockenson. I was a little surprised to see this because I remember last week when we talked, brother was a hater on TJ Hockenson for not running a lot of routes out here. And here we are the next week, and he's a couple higher again on him. Got him up at tight end 8. And I don't think he did much last week. I don't have Hockenson anywhere since that was
he didn't at all.
That was the range of tight ends I wanted nothing to do with. So
yeah, this one's tough. I mean, you could argue that the next guy you're going to talk about could be ranked higher. The problem is there's been a lot of disappointing tight ends, right?
Can we go back to how perfectly correct the strategy that we told everyone to take was take one early? Because Brock Bowers, even with an injury, still looks pretty good. Trey McBride playing pretty well. Sam Laporta had a disappointing week 3. I'm forgetting someone else. George Kittle got hurt. That's not his fault. And then all those middle tight ends. And then Mark Andrews looks god awful again. And then the late guys, right? Harold Bannon, Juwan Johnson. Those guys look good.
Zach Ertz.
So the ones we really went after were Zach Ertz and Hunter Henry, and they've looked fantastic. So there you go. And even my boy Brenton Strange has looked solid. Didn't get the touchdown throw to him in game 1, but So this one with Hawk, they're going to be switching over to Carson Wentz. Don't love that, obviously, but I think you could argue this offense may run better with Carson Wentz there. Outside of a 3/4 of a fourth quarter, the Minnesota Vikings offense has looked atrocious with JJ McCarthy there. He just looks lost. And so I have to imagine there's going to be a better run offense here with Carson Wentz there, and that's going to be big for TJ Hawkinson. And they get Cincinnati, who just plain ain't good on defense. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean,
you could convince me. Sorry, you could convince me to knock him down to like 9 or 10. Like, I could put Ertz in front of him, Juwan Johnson in front of him. That's probably about as far as I'm going to go.
Yeah. Lower, we're looking at Juwan Johnson at 3 under, and then you got Jatavian Sanders at 5 under. I mean, Johnson to me is the more interesting one. Jatavian hasn't really done anything this year, and
last week he was pretty good.
Yeah.
But again,
how
Young threw
is he going to keep doing
55 times? That's hard.
Exactly.
He got 9 targets, caught 7 for 54, which is fantastic. But he needed a 55 passing attempt game from Bryce Young to do it. So yeah. And again, we just talked about how Atlanta's defense is playing much better this season. So I'm not really buying into that.
Playing better this season, but they're first against tight ends. At least the rankings I'm looking at. So I don't think Sanders is the play this week personally. So I agree with that one.
Yeah. So Juwan Johnson is an interesting one. It seems like whatever is going on in New Orleans, they have finally figured out they have an absolute freak of an athlete at tight end, and they're finally going to use him. 20 targets total in the first 2 games. That said, that offense is still bad, and so there's a lack of upside with him, and I still want to see it happen a little more. Seattle is pretty good against tight ends so far, according to DVOA. And it's in Seattle. So the first 2 games for New Orleans were at home. Now they're on the road at Seattle, which is a really, really tough place to play. So that's another reason why I'm going to knock Juwan Johnson down just a tad.
While I agree their offense is still bad, I would say Spencer Rattler looks pretty decent back there compared to the Spencer Rattler we saw last year at big chunks of time. Spencer Rattler actually looks pretty competent back there right now. In the offseason, everybody thought this was going to just go instantly to Tyler Shuck because they took him in the second round. Right now, it doesn't look like Tyler Shuck's getting that job anytime soon because Spencer Rattler's actually leading them. They've been competitive. We talked about I didn't think they'd even be competitive this often, and they've been competitive in both games. So shout out to New Orleans for at least finding a way to score some points here and make these games a little bit closer. Another comment here. Trevin, for real? For honestly, I should trade Quentin Johnson over A.J. Brown this week. Okay. So we talked about the disappointing performances of Brian Thomas. I think the only one who's been more disappointing, unless I'm forgetting someone obvious, is A.J. Brown. And that's partially because AJ's Eagles just don't have to throw the ball at all right now. They've won 2 games, and they've thrown the ball for I think Jalen Hurts is 250 yards passing in 2 weeks. But if people are actually thinking that, then you should be sending out buy low offers on A.J. Brown. I'm not trading A.J. Brown for Quentin Johnson. This is another one where I would go down with the ship and be wrong all season before I give up A.J. Brown for Quentin Johnson.
And I also think, and I said it earlier, I think Surtain's going to be covering Quentin Johnson this week. So no, do not do that. Even if he doesn't shadow him the whole game, he's going to be on him quite a bit. And so there's just no chance I'm doing that.
Are we really worried about A.J. Brown? AJ, you watch him every week. Are you worried about A.J. Brown?
No, the only thing that worries me is if this somehow turns into the situation we had last year. Before Brandon Graham came out and, said what he said on the air on the Brandon Graham show that they record down in Philly on Monday nights. he basically came out and called out him and Jalen and said, they need to get it together and figure it out. We as a team need to come together. And ever since then, they hashed it out and they moved on. I don't know if I see that happening yet again, but like you said, Philly doesn't really need to throw the ball. They've been running it well enough, and the defense has been doing really well and giving them good field position. So I don't know. I'm not worried yet, but I am starting to get concerned.
Yeah. Through 2 weeks, he's thrown for 253 yards. At some point, they are going to, maybe this week, they play Kansas City, correct? Am I right on that? No, they just play Kansas City.
They played them last week.
Just beat Kansas City. They play at home against the Rams.
Rams. That's a good team too. Like maybe we'll actually see him have to throw the ball a little bit this week, and then
I think they will. I think they will. Although Saquon destroyed the Rams in the 2 games they played last year for.
I heard a stat
807
today.
yards.
I believe it was Jim Coventry on the RotoWire show. He mentioned a stat where the Eagles is just like a weird thing right now. They are facing the most 8-man boxes in the league so far, but they're not adjusting to it. They're just still trying to run it down your throat, and it's kind of working. I mean, they're not blowing out teams, but it's working. Eventually, right, you've got to figure out, hey, I've got 8 men in the box, which means you've got single coverage on the outside with a single high safety. You got to go deep to make these defenses be honest. And they've got the playmakers to do it. It's like, when are they going to make that decision and finally do it is the question everybody has. And until they finally prove that they're going to do it, AJ Brown's going to be a tough sell for people. I understand it, but this week with Quentin Johnson, no thanks.
Yep. Okay, let's do a couple more of these quick, and then we'll jump into quarterbacks. Mecca Egbuka or Garrett Wilson, full PPR. I'm going to assume that's all season because there's a chance Egbuka doesn't play this week. So this week you have to go Garrett Wilson. And even as much of a detractor as I've been on Garrett Wilson at times, I still think I'm taking him over Egbuka. I almost pulled a Joe there.
With I don't know, man. With Tyrod Taylor, it's a lot closer, man. I've literally got them in full PPR. I've got them 4 spots separated. It is Garrett Wilson ahead of them, but it's close enough that I think if you want to start Egbuka over Wilson, I would not fault you for it.
And Daniel Jones or Baker, again, I guess we're going to talk about it in terms of this week. Baker and Tampa Bay take on the Jets, and I don't remember who. The Colts take on Tennessee. We already talked about that.
Tennessee, yeah.
Yep.
I would probably play Baker Mayfield still, but I wouldn't fail. Another one, I probably wouldn't fault them if they play Daniel Jones. He looks really good, and he keeps vulturing all the touchdowns. So that's what you want to see. I'm playing Daniel Jones in some spots now. So
again, Daniel Jones.
I definitely would be playing him.
Yeah, Daniel Jones has flown up the rankings a lot more than I thought he would be. I mean, I was giving some crap on this show for week 1 when I had him 16 or 17. Man, I was wrong. I should have gone higher.
We don't want to give you too much
and then he surprised everybody and actually had a pretty good game against Denver's defense too, which was pretty shocking. So I'm still on Baker, but yeah, Daniel Jones has looked pretty good.
One more here. James Cook just scored a touchdown. One more here. Would you trade Javonte Williams and Chris Godwin for Ashton Genty in a 10-man full PPR league? So Javonte's been pretty excellent to start the season.
Yeah.
And Chris Godwin sounds like there's at least a chance that he'll be playing this week. He is
probably more next week.
I think it's more likely next week. But even then, I'm not sure. Like if Chris Godwin plays next week, I have Chris Godwin in some places. Ideally, I want to play him.
I'm going to wait.
I would not have to play him, kind of like Xavier. I'm not playing. I don't know you guys. I'm not playing Xavier Worthy in the team I have him this week, even if he plays. I could see him playing 20 snaps, and so I want no part of that. But Ashton Genty, while it's been a slow start, I think I'm still pulling that trade on that. I think I still want Ashton Genty.
Yeah, I think I do too. They've already come out and said they had to get Genty the ball more. Only 11 rushes last week. Granted, they were getting destroyed. But they've got to figure out a way to get him the ball and stop letting Geno try to like win these games for them in the first quarter. It's just not going to happen. That's not why you drafted an Janti. So let this man do what you brought him in to do.
We're not letting Geno cook here. Okay. On to quarterbacks. And we were going to look at someone Joe has higher and someone Joe has lower. So you're not like specifically very high on anybody towards the top. You have Josh Allen one spot higher than consensus, but that just means instead of being 2, he's 1. But then the only other one in the top 10 that you're really higher on, because we're going to skip over a certain player there that's in there because of injuries, is Caleb Williams. You have him up at 6 as opposed to 8 there. Is there you be liking what we've seen out of the Bears? Because they're another one other than maybe a couple quarters early in the season. It has not been pretty. You talked about it with JJ McCarthy, but they have not looked good, particularly good either most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will about Caleb, but like he has 24 fantasy points and then 18. Not bad. And now he gets Dallas, who is not looking like a very good defense right now. It's a little skewed how good their pass defense is because they played Philly, who decided not to pass the ball, as we've talked about, right? But I don't think that's really telling you how good or bad this Dallas defense is, and I still am of a believer that they're not a very good defense. So I think Caleb Williams is going to have a pretty good game here this week against Dallas at home.
That was a great cameo by Fitzmagic, the beard, whatever you want to call him. There he is. Good times. I miss him. Anyway, totally off of what we're talking about. But yeah, so the next guy you have that's lower would be in that Dallas game, and that is Dak Prescott. You've got him 5 lower than ECR. So you're looking at, a Baker, a Drake ahead of him, Drake May, obviously Caleb, and then Danny Dimes right behind him. So what do you think?
Yeah, Dak's an interesting one. We're looking at last week's game against New York and thinking, oh man, that's what we're gonna get, right? Those types of like weird outlier games just are so hard to trust. He looked horrendous in week 1. And so I don't know, play the middle ground there and say he's kind of somewhere, take the average of those two. I don't think he's quite as bad as he was in week 1, and I don't think he's going to be quite as good as he was last week. Chicago's defense has been arguably one of the worst in the league. So, he can have a good game, but I also think that Dallas is enjoying, being able to run the ball again with Javonte, and I think they're going to lean on that as long as they can.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you might as well. If anything, you're conserving Dak and his health. So if you want to somehow attempt to make a run towards the playoffs, he needs to be healthy this year and stay healthy. And they got to rely more on the running game. It's that simple.
Yeah.
I'm relying more on the running game. Anybody remember when the Dolphins used to pick up big chunks of yardage? It's a long time ago.
That was decades ago.
Like,
Marino, was that his name?
Man, just remember when like this team would like throw the ball. Jalen Waddle felt like could score from anywhere. Tyreek Hill felt like could score from anywhere. Achane could score from anywhere. Now, Tua's completed 13 passes for 63 yards. Like, I just don't get it. It looks so bad. So
the league will always catch up.
That's true.
Uh-huh.
They have done that.
All right, let's jump into some injury and news and the impact that Corey think it has on the upcoming week. We'll start here with his Packers. Jayden Reed, fractured collarbone on the IR, out at least 6 to 8 weeks. Obviously, we know the impact it has on Jayden Reed, but Who's the next man up here? How does this impact the rest of the receivers?
So I think everyone wants it to be Matthew Golden, right? He's been very disappointing through the first 2 weeks for the guy that was going to be taken or was being taken at least at the end of the draft season as the top receiver off the board, and he has not delivered, but they still have a lot of weapons in this offense. And so I think the most reliable one is Romeo Doubs, followed by Dontavian Wicks, who is still getting a lot of snaps in there and actually starting to catch the ball. Another one like Quentin Johnston. When you learn how to catch the ball, it helps to play wide receiver. And so I think I'm not like places where I had Matthew Golden, I'm not dropping him, but I'm not playing him this week either. I don't want to play him until I actually see it. I do think it'll be there, but they got Savion Williams involved at the end of last week. Like he was taking some like direct snap run plays too, which is a lot what Jayden Reed does. So I think you can play Doubs. I think you can play Wicks, and the other ones, I'm fine keeping both those. Like I keep Matthew Golden on my bench, but I would not want to play him.
Yeah, I would agree there. I do think Matthew Golden could be a super duper cheap like trade, buy low guy. Like you can just go get him for cheap for no, just to see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, hopefully you didn't have to give up a lot for him. But I do think he could actually move into that Jayden Reed role if they decide to. Probably Matt LaFleur is going to do Matt LaFleur things. He'll probably figure out another way to pull off, spread out the 25 pass attempts to 6 other receivers. Who knows? That's what he does.
It is.
Yeah. I think it's an easy job to try to go get him. Golden, that is. I also like Wicks too. I've liked him for a handful of years. He just hasn't fully put it all together yet. So maybe this is his year. But next up we have Austin Ekeler, and he is dealing with an Achilles.
So he tore it as we were talking. I don't know if we just got done talking or we were still talking, Joe and I, last week while AJ was listening to the Raven. But he tore his Achilles. Oh, okay. I think it's probably, there's a non-zero chance, a decent chance it's the last that we may ever see Austin Ekeler playing in the NFL, which sucks. Good for him. Great career. But maybe we'll see him. The question is who steps up, because during that game, Joe and I were talking about, where's Bill? Where's Bill? He's not getting the ball. And he didn't end up getting it. I think he ended up with about just under 20 yards rushing last week. Well, I think he's going to get the ball now, but I also don't think he's going to replace the pass catching role that we got out of Austin Ekeler. So I think Chris Rodriguez has been inactive the first 2 weeks. I think he'll be active, but I actually think Jeremy McNichols probably fills the pass catching role back. And so, I think you can play Bill again. I am playing him in some spots. I don't love it, but I'm playing him in some spots. I think he will get carries. And I think Rodriguez and McNichols, because it's been such I wrote the waiver wire the first 2 weeks, and there's very little came up at running back so far. But if you want to take a shot and put those guys as the last running back on your bench, I think that's fine, and we'll see what happens. But I think you can play Bill, and the other two are just more stashes, and we'll hope that Austin Ekeler's health recovers, but I also wouldn't be surprised if we hear in this offseason that he's done.
Yeah. Just random side news about the running back. I said they'd probably go get somebody. They did sign Chase Edmonds to the practice squad, so there might be your pass catcher back.
He can catch.
Yeah. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So, obviously the biggest injury news of the week, unfortunately, Joe Burrow out for the rest of the season with the rest of the fantasy football regular season, I would say. Turf toe, had to get surgery on the ligaments around it. Not so much to say about Joe Burrow, but what do you think the impact is this on the Bengals pass catchers and Chase Brown? I know I've come out and said my piece. There's a little video on it on Twitter if you want to go check it out. But
your mic is going a little goofy on you there, just so you know, Joe. But so I did not see your piece on Joe Burrow, but my thoughts are, you already said it. Jake Browning was playing there last year and was or was it 2 years ago? It doesn't matter. I think it was 2 years ago. But we've seen Jake Browning in this offense, and it still functions. Maybe it doesn't have the unbelievably high ceiling it has under Joe Burrow, but it's still pretty good. If I had to drop someone down a little bit, I think it's Chase Brown. They have not ran the ball particularly well with Joe Burrow, so I think I'm fine playing Chase Brown. I think he's probably still a top 24 running back, but I think he's the one who loses a little bit. I mean, we saw it last week. Jake Browning got in there and he understood the assignment. It's, hey, there's Jamar Chase. You can throw him the ball, 14 catches.
Right.
Like I think Jamar Chase, maybe he's not the runaway. If we had to say, okay, you're only going to get 2 weeks of Joe Burrow, maybe he wouldn't be the guaranteed number 1 overall pick in every draft, but he still would have been a first round pick. Like, I still would have taken him over, I don't know, those back end guys like Brian Thomas and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I might have made Justin Jefferson and CD ahead of him, but he's still going to be really good. And T. Higgins, I don't know. I still think he's a top 20 wide receiver every week. I'm not too worried about it. So maybe they lose a little bit of the unbelievable ceiling, but it's still going to be a fine offense. They're still going to be playing from behind or, trying to match points because their defense still, you already said it once, the defense sucks. So they have to match points. So I think they'll be fine. It sucks if you had Joe Burrow. I had Joe Burrow in a team with J.J. McCarthy. I dropped Joe Burrow. Like you said, fantasy, I'm probably not going to get him back. And I didn't have any chance. I dropped him for, I think, Jake Browning in that league. So had to do it. Sucks.
Yeah,
Indeed it does.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to hurt everybody. I like Browning. I think he's definitely serviceable. All right. Sorry. The next one we've got here is
AJ somewhere else
Justin
again.
Fields. Yeah. Justin Fields is in the concussion protocol. He is obviously out this week. What type of long-term issues do you think this could be?
That's a good question. I mean, concussions are tough to predict, right? Sometimes you see people come back in a week or two, and sometimes it lingers, and it's a month. And in Tua's case, I mean, we've seen him miss 6 weeks with a concussion. If I was a betting man, I would think he probably plays before like early in October, maybe next week already. But Tyrod's a pretty capable backup too. If you watch that game, it was in the fourth quarter when Justin Fields got concussed, and he had thrown for 39 yards or something like that. He looked absolutely abysmal after getting my hopes up in week 1 that maybe he could throw the ball. He looked abysmally bad. So, like, am I really? I mean, we talked about with the guy asked the question about Garrett Wilson. Do I really downgrade him with Tyrod Taylor? I mean, he's played with terrible quarterbacks before, and he's been okay. And I think Tyrod Taylor.
Whoa! Hey, let's ease up on the terrible quarterback commentary for Mr. Tyrod. Taylor.
Oh yeah, I said it. Like Tyrod's right in there with who was it? Like the Zach Wilsons of the world. I'll take Tyrod over that. So, like, I think you can get him the ball. I don't know if I trust a whole lot of anybody else on the Jets offense with Tyrod under there. A Breece Hall, I guess, but any other pass catchers. But hopefully we can get Fields back next week or the week after that because a lot of people took him early too. So we're dropping. Quarterbacks are dropping like flies.
Ooh, yeah, it's been brutal, man.
Yeah. And that's what we talk about every year. So that's why you draft at least 2 quarterbacks, even in a 1 quarterback league.
All right. Before we jump into the next one here, got a question here from Woody the Badger.
That name.
Nice.
That's a nice name.
Redraft full PPR 14-man league. Should I trade Marvin Harrison for Ladd?
Yes. You should get Ladd
Yeah.
McConkey. Like, how many breaks are we just going to give Marvin Harrison for being perfectly mid all the time? We're now a year and 2 games in, and he's just talking the party line of, I only have the ball. What is he? Not many catches. I don't remember, but they asked him, like, are you disappointed? He's like, no, we're 2-0, which you love to hear that if you're a Cardinals fan, but as a fantasy manager, like, freaking ball, dude. Like, go out there. And
how many fantasy managers that have him are 2-0?
Yeah, exactly. So, like, yeah, I want Ladd McConkey.
I think it's closer than you think, though, man. Like, look, I get it. Here's my problem is that now this wide receiver core for the Chargers, which still is, it's still a more run, dominant team than a pass dominant team, right? It still is a 3-headed monster. It's Ladd, it's Keenan Allen, and it's Quentin Johnson. And honestly, right now, Ladd McConkey is 3rd on that list. It's kind of crazy. I'm not really sure how to take that. And so the Marvin Harrison, unfortunately, on the Cardinals, which is also not a super heavy pass heavy team, is second in targets to Trey McBride. Trey McBride gets like 26% of the target share. Marvin Harrison gets 20. So he is not an elite target getter, even for his own team. But right now, Ladd McConkey isn't either. So I don't know. I guess I would trust Ladd McConkey to be more consistent, but I actually kind of think Marvin Harrison has a higher ceiling.
Yes, I would agree with that. But like Marvin Harrison has 1 catch for 45 yards and a touchdown. If you take that away through 2 weeks, Marvin Harrison would have 6 catches for 43 yards. And then we're talking about him being A.J. Brown. So I would agree he's got a higher ceiling, but I think Ladd McConkey in a full PPR like that I still trust Ladd McConkey to get more catches over the course of the season than Marvin Harrison. So that's why I'm going. It's close. I'm not saying it's like, oh, Ladd McConkey is far and away better than him, but I don't have much faith anymore in Marvin Harrison. The rest like being more than a wide receiver 3.
I don't know. It's tough for me. That's a close one. I would probably lean Ladd also, but I don't think it's totally lopsided one way or the other.
I don't think it's super lopsided. I would do it, even though I agree. I think Ladd's definitely the wide receiver 3 on that team right now.
But now he is.
That's probably won't mean.
Well, who's more likely to gain back target share, though? Like, in 5 weeks, we're talking about this. Ladd McConkey passes Quentin Johnston. I think that's possible again, right?
Yeah. No, you're right.
And is there any chance that Marvin Harrison becomes a bigger target than Trey McBride?
Probably not.
I'd be pretty shocked from what we've ever seen.
But do they stop passing the ball as much as they are to like Greg Dortch and people like that? Yeah, that's where
that's where he has to take it up, right? And that's where I'm saying, like, dude, demand the freaking ball, man. Like, go out there and tell me, like, I want the ball. And I get it. Like,
I hear you. I hear. So we do have another question here. CMC from Gabriel. CMC for Ladd and Derrick Henry. I would do that.
Is it?
I want the Derrick Henry.
I'd rather have Henry. Yeah.
If there's PPR,
I had Derrick Henry ranked ahead of CMC, and so you're going to get Ladd also. I'll take it.
I don't know.
PPR,
like I don't know. I think I want CMC, man. Like, yes, could he get hurt tomorrow? Yep, he could. Like, and we've said it all along. He could get hurt tomorrow, but when he's out there, like, there is nothing else on the Niners. Like 70% of their offense right now is CMC, and we just watched Derrick Henry have a pathetic game, and I don't think he'll have a lot of those, but there's almost no way that CMC doesn't put up consistent 15 plus a week. Like, that's a bad week for him in the way this offense is designed.
I hear you. Yeah. Now that it's PPR, I do slightly lean Christian McCaffrey. Although Ladd in PPR, because he catches almost everything that goes his way, is still holding some decent value there. But yeah, I would go CMC there, get the better PPR value there, and just hope that he can stay healthy. We'll get to your question here, Raiders fan. We got to move on here a little bit. Aaron Jones injuring the hamstring. You were a big believer of Jordan Mason. This probably isn't the real reason why, but I'm sure you're feeling pretty good.
Well, I don't ever want anybody to get hurt, but I mean, I said all along, I thought that at some point Jordan Mason would take over from Aaron Jones. I didn't, I don't love the fact that he went on IR with a hamstring, but for the next 4 weeks, I mean, I could pull back up your rankings here. I'm pretty much valuing Jordan Mason as a top 10, 12 running back for the next 4 weeks, especially now, as long as JJ McCarthy's out.
I've got him 11 in half PPR, so there you go.
So, fire him up. It's pretty hard to imagine that you're not starting him in any league you got him.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm right there with you. So next up, we're staying with Minnesota. Yep. JJ McCarthy is a high ankle sprain, and it looks like new journeyman Carson Wentz is jumping into the purple and gold and taking the start this week.
I feel like
are we worried about Wentz coming in and taking this job?
No, I'm not worried about him taking the job. I feel like if I badmouth Carson Wentz, AJ's gonna get pissed because it's like a Philly legend here. Like, no, we're good. Not Nick Foles. Okay.
Yeah,
not Nick Foles. Yeah, there you go. You nailed it.
I mean, is Wentz's nickname Big Dick Nick? I don't think so.
Like, as far as Wentz is concerned,
BDN for the family crowd.
BDN. We don't want to play Carson Wentz. Like, I don't want to play Carson Wentz in fantasy anywhere. But another one, I don't think like Carson Wentz is going to be able to get the ball to Justin Jefferson. I don't think it really. Maybe it lowers the ceiling a little bit again, but Justin Jefferson's a top 12 wide receiver. You're going to play Justin Jefferson. I said roll out Jordan Mason because he's now going to get the ball a lot. And next week when Jordan Addison comes back, if McCarthy's still hurt, I'm probably going to play him in most cases because I think Carson Wentz is good enough to get those guys the ball. So
yeah, he is.
I'm probably good with everybody still in Minnesota.
Yeah, and to be fair, we wouldn't have had the Super Bowl in 2017 if it wasn't for Wentz and his run towards an MVP season.
I knew it was coming.
I don't hate on him, but I mean, I think he'll be.
He's not okay. The legend that is.
He's not. Yeah, he's not the legend of tripods.
Oh man.
Oh my god. I'm done. All right.
You're welcome.
AJ, we are not making a clip out of that one.
I will say he could be Nick.
The family show.
Maybe. All right.
Nick Foles could be the next sideline photographer. Just saying, he's already got some of the tools.
So we.
Oh, that was good.
All right. So over to the Commanders.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Jayden Daniels got tackled kind of awkwardly late in the game last week and stayed in the game, but then afterwards got an MRI and he's day-to-day with a knee injury. He's doing some work on the side, so I guess there's still technically a chance that he plays this week. I initially had him out of my rankings. I have moved him back into my rankings, but I'm super ready to pull him right back out of my rankings the minute we hear he's not going to play. What's your thoughts on this? And if he is out, like Marcus Mariota, like good enough to be able to keep this offense rolling?
I think he will play. It sounds like he's going to try to practice tomorrow, and if that happens, then I think he will play. If he doesn't practice tomorrow, then I think Mariota probably rolls. I would consider compared to some of the other backup quarterbacks we talked about, the offense will change with Mariota. Like Daniels attacks downfield and buys time. I think we would get more Bill, more Debo, and it would be bad for Terry McLaurin. That would be my thoughts. It's probably okay for Ertz. The shorter stuff is good. It would probably be bad for the Terry McLaurin attempts. But like, I don't want to play, if you're in these deep super flex leagues, I would not try to avoid Mariota if I could help it, I think.
Oh, there you go. Keon Coleman drop.
I will take the Brock.
I love it.
Brock Purdy is back at practice, and it sounds like they think that they're planning to play Mac Jones. I almost said Blake Jones. Mac Jones. And if he does play, that Brock Purdy will be the emergency backup quarterback. I don't know if he's good enough to be like the emergency backup quarterback, why he is not good enough to play and start the game. But, I still Mac Jones we did our streamers that week. I threw out Mac Jones and he delivered. Like, he's great. So we'll see. I think Mac Jones probably will play that game, and I don't expect to see Purdy this week. I do think we'll see Brock Purdy again next week. So if you held out Brock Purdy or, somebody dropped him early, something like that, and you lost one of these many other quarterbacks, go get Brock Purdy because he'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Next guy up here we have is Tucker Kraft, knee injury today at practice. Are we worried because it's a knee injury or?
So we looked at this right before we started recording. Joe and I talked about it. It sounds like he tweaked his knee, but all indications are it's not going to be serious. Good to go there. I think he'll probably still play this week. If you wanted to go out, if you thought there was a chance he wouldn't play and you wanted to add Luke Musgrave and play him for a week, he's probably like a top 15-ish tight end if Tucker Kraft doesn't play. But I do think Tucker Kraft will play, so I'm not too worried about that one.
Yeah, and there was a report, Tucker Kraft all good after testing on knee, so it does sound positive for him. So I'm just going to rapid fire some other injuries that have kind of popped up here, good and bad throughout the week. Christian Kirk, limited practice. Sounds like he's kind of on his way back. We got DK, Metcalf, didn't practice today. You mentioned that you're not even really sure that he practiced last week, so that did not follow my radar. Dallas Goedert, limited practice today, so maybe he's on his way back. We talked about Egbuka a couple of times, did not practice today. Jennings did not practice, but we'll have to see what happens with him on Friday. And then DeAndre Swift, limited practice as well. Hit on any of those that you think are interesting and what the impact is.
So yesterday and today were the first practices all season that Christian Kirk has taken. And I do think he'll probably play this weekend. CJ Stroud looks pretty awful right now. So hopefully we can get another weapon in there and maybe we'll open up this offense a little bit. DK is just resting, I think, every Wednesday and Thursday. They don't really need him. He's so much far and away their best receiver that they're not going to practice him most midweeks. That doesn't sound like anyways. Goddard, I think, is going to go this week, and he was great in week one. So we'll see if we can get him. He was far and away their top receiver in week one. So we'll see if we can get him back. Egbuka worries me. We've talked about Egbuka a few times here, and Chris Godwin. I don't think Godwin's going to play this week. I like 50-50 on Egbuka playing this week. It was a late thing, but I think there's a decent chance he doesn't play. So you should have at least a backup plan in place. Juwan Jennings hasn't practiced hardly at all and went out and had a great game last week. And kind of, I benched him in the league. I benched him in some spots because I was like, okay, well, he hasn't practiced a whole lot. Pearsall's been out there and he was great. So I think he'll play, and I think he's usable. And I did not see anything on DeAndre Swift, but that makes me think that he will not play.
Fire up your Kyle Monangai, or however you say it.
Right.
All right. Shall we?
Raiders fan. Let's just get Raiders fan and the other dude's question.
Yeah, let's do these. Let's do these questions, and then we'll get to your streamers, AJ. So
AJ's just roaring to talk defenses. I can tell.
Should I trade Jamar Chase, Tedero, and McMillan? By the way, he does not like to be called Tet, so we should not do that. And Quentin Junkins for Gibbs and Brian Thomas, PPR 10-man, 1 flex. So Jamar, McMillan, Junkins for Gibbs, and Brian Thomas.
I think I'm keeping the Chase side. If you're really
at this
in
point,
need of running
may
back,
be the best player in that trade now because Chase probably falls a few spots. Junkins is still kind of up in the air. So what he really is going to be looked pretty solid in a very limited amount of work last week. McMillan has been okay.
The only question with that is, okay, so say you make, well, you're getting Gibbs and Brian Thomas. I guess I do that. I still think that Quinshon Junkins is going to get suspended at some point this season for something. I don't know how long it is.
They don't know.
I don't know how long it is. No. I don't know when it happens. I still think he probably gets suspended for some time at some point. We'll talk about that. But, yeah, Gibbs and Chase are pretty even. I think I still want Brian Thomas over Tat. And I love Tat. But I still think I would want Brian Thomas over Tat. And I said Junkins he looks like he's the best running back in Cleveland, but what does that mean? Like, it's a terrible offense. And so
they're not going to run a whole lot because they suck. So
I think I still want
I don't know.
Brian Thomas side, but it's close.
Yeah.
Yep.
I could go either way.
Last one here from the Smitty. The Smitty, sorry. 2 quarterback PPR flex league. Would you play Marcus Mariota over Browning, Mac Jones, or Rattler if Daniels does not play? No, I would play Browning.
No.
I would rank that Browning, Mac Jones, Rattler, Mariota.
Correct.
That's the way I would rank that.
Yeah.
Correct. All right, AJ.
Okay.
Time for streamers.
Do it. All right.
Let's start off here with your quarterback streamer for the week. Just to preface this, you pick players that are rostered in how many?
Very low percentages, apparently.
Very low percentage. We haven't made a decision yet, apparently. We're going to go with under 40 this week because that's about what you did. Under 40% rostered on Yahoo leagues. So that's where we are. Give us your quarterback, man. What you got?
You done messed up, AA Ron. Going with Rodgers. And I pulled him up in my league that I just grabbed him today to start him because, I am practicing what I preach here. And my team name is Screaming Rainbow Farts because the random picture I chose was Wreck-It Ralph as a tiger costume with a rainbow coming out of his butt. So it fits. And when I went to
that means start Aaron Rodgers.
Well, exactly.
Of course.
Well, no. When I went to go look for Rodgers on the player list, it just has my team name and it says Fart. So it was pretty funny. I'm a child. But yeah. Rodgers.
I just want that clip. Just that sound bite now. So I can just be like, yes. I'm a child.
Yep.
I'm going to figure out how to do that.
All right. So, Rodgers has averaged 25 completions on 33 attempts. He's got over 300 yards both games. He's got no. This is the Patriots defense has given up over 300 each game. They've given up 3 touchdowns, and they've given up the 25 for 33. They're still kind of middle of the pack, but with those stats against the quarterback, Rodgers put up 4 touchdowns in week 1. Obviously that was the payback game for the Jets, and he just had a huge game with the touchdowns. His yardage was okay at 244. Last week, even lower at 200. And had a couple interceptions, but this to me is a bounce back week for Rodgers, and his ownership according to Yahoo is down at 26%. So there's plenty of other guys that are ahead of him in the free agency wire, but based on matchups, this is where I'm going.
Yeah, not a bad one. I almost picked him for my streamer for the article I wrote, so I don't hate it, but it is still super hard to trust Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. I don't know, man. There's just something about him lately that I just can't fall in love with, and starting. So
take some ayahuasca, Joe. You'll calm down. You'll love him then.
Yeah.
Nope.
Exactly.
Moving on to running backs, I believe this is a second week in a row. AJ wasn't here, but Joe, I believe, went with this guy last week. Who you got, AJ?
All right. Well, I am going with Kareem Hunt for KC. He hasn't done a ton yet, but he's played 2 good defenses in the Chargers and Philly, obviously. He's only got 3 receptions so far in the year. I can easily see that changing this week. He's up against the Giants, who are officially the worst team against running backs on the parameters I'm looking at, giving up over 100 and almost 150 yards total, 3 touchdowns. Now, obviously, that is all running backs. Hunt isn't the bell cow main running back here for KC, but Pacheco hasn't really been exciting either. The whole KC team hasn't been exciting, let's be real. But I think this could be the game that, Mahomes needs to build some confidence back. Kelsey apparently can't catch anymore, so he's going to need somewhat. All right. Get it, Tyreek. He's gonna need somebody to throw to and just have some drop off. I mean, the Giants do have a strong defensive line, so I can see them getting after Mahomes. He'll need that safety gap, and to me, I think it's Hunt. He's
just to let you know,
28%.
Just to let you know, there is no bell cow for Kansas City. The rushing attempt split right now.
Oh yeah, I know.
50% Pacheco, 43% to Hunt. 3% is with Brashard Smith, and then the rest is a mix between Mahomes actually, and yeah, it doesn't even matter. So it's but either way, they've both been terrible.
Yeah.
Maybe a better matchup will help, but man, I don't know. That's a tough. I don't know. I would have a tough time streaming this run game right now. But there's not a lot of streamers out there, as Corey has mentioned. Like the waivers for all like this year so far have been pretty bad. I mean, we're like complete dart throws, honestly, for a lot of these waivers. There's been no obvious pickups.
Yeah, I mean, guys ahead of them, you're looking at a Braylon Allen and Caleb Johnson, both around 56%.
We should have like a dumbass of the week award and just give it to Caleb Johnson. Did you see his play? Did you see his kick return?
I did not. No, I did not.
Oh, you did it? Oh, okay.
I just saw notes that he was probably not taking kick returns according to Tomlin.
I don't know why. I don't know why they put him back at kick return, right? So the ball lands in the what do they call it? The gold zone or whatever, where you're supposed to land the ball between the 0 and the 20. And he's back there. And he lets it bounce over his head into the end zone, thinking it's a touchback, just walks away. And who are they playing? The Dolphins ran down, flopped on the ball in the end zone for a touchdown. Like,
nice.
I was like, man, I wouldn't be shocked. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Caleb Johnson isn't even like active this week.
Yeah.
And that's from a guy who drafted him a lot. That like we all had some hits, we all had some misses. Like that is main miss number one for me. I will eat all that because he looks terrible and they don't play him.
Yeah.
No, I totally missed that.
Those are rough.
That's funny.
All
right, AJ.
Somebody had targeted, but I dropped them.
All right. You got a couple receiver streamer options here from looking like the same team here.
Yeah, this one's kind of an interesting, tag team effort. Kind of like the commercial. We've got the Batemobile and Rashad Bateman, and then D-Hop, DeAndre Hopkins, both from Baltimore, obviously. Hopkins is averaging a touchdown per week on a whopping 2 targets per week. So clearly he is a touchdown dependent guy. But he's kind of more farther down. He's total boom or bust. And if you are absolutely desperate, he's only at 14% anyways. Bateman, on the other hand, is higher, and he's at a 33%. I mean, he's had a really slow start as well. He's had 4 targets per game, but his yardage is god awful. He's got 25 yards on 4 receptions this year. He's got to be able to break out of that. He's too talented. And I know Flowers has been awesome, but down the stretch last year, Bateman seemed to be the much more, confident go-to guy for Lamar. So I think he's going to turn it around. I don't love the matchup necessarily, but it could be worse. I mean, it's actually not too bad. I mean, the Lions have given up over 150 points, 160 plus, and 3 touchdowns. So, I think there's yardage and possible end zone entrance to be had.
End zone entrance.
That's right. That's what you do. Nice. You enter the end zone, you score a touchdown.
That's true. Last position here. You are going deep at the tight end position. This is a deep name here. So who do you like at the tight end position, AJ?
Give me that tongs. 7 receptions on the year.
Do funny jokes.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Quality analysis here, guys.
He's got 8 targets on the year, 7 receptions, not a ton of yards. He does have an end zone appearance there in week 1 against Seattle.
End zone entrance?
No, appearance this time. He did enter the end zone, but it was an end zone appearance. He's got a pretty juicy matchup here against the Cardinals. They've given up a lot of yards to tight ends and a lot of receptions. 19 total receptions. 160-ish yards almost. I think he could get it, and especially with Mac Jones. The thing I like about this is Mac Jones is number 2, Tongs is number 2. They probably have a pretty good rapport from being the backups and in practice and everything. So I don't know. I'm banking on that maybe, but I mean he's been okay, and George Kittle's obviously not there. So yeah, deep dive.
That is deep. You found one there. I'm pretty confident he's available in almost every league.
Yeah. I didn't quite dig that deep into the tight end dumpster fire of
I mean
there. I went Harold Fannin in the article that's going to drop in a couple days here.
I was looking at Henry and Chigankwonkwo is
Henry's
actually
59%, which is still
he's way more on. Chig's only at 31. He's kind of interesting as well.
Do you guys have it up in front of you?
Yeah.
What is JT Sanders? Because he looked pretty good last week.
He's pretty low.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I was looking at, because I started looking at Fannin. I'm like, why is he not rostered higher? And then I was like, oh, they're playing Green Bay. That's why. And then I looked even closer at Green Bay. Their defense has been phenomenal. The one spot you've been able to beat them at has been tight end.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough. So, they're getting Fannin the ball. I mean, he wasn't as good as he was in week 1, but Fannin still saw 5 targets, caught all 5. Mm-hmm. I'll take that as my streamer tight end all day.
Yeah. I mean,
he's doing better than a lot of tight ends, unfortunately, right now. Mark Andrews. Anyway,
Mark Andrews was dropped in that league, actually.
Yeah,
I honestly don't hate that.
I don't either. I saw it and I was like, I get it.
Okay, a couple more questions here in the chat.
Oh boy!
Before we do defenses, we want to make sure that they get their own full time. Caleb Davis here in the chat. Higgins for Swift. T. Higgins or DeAndre Swift? I want T. Higgins.
I would take T. Higgins.
Yeah.
Triple T.
Higgins. I mean, you'd have to be loaded at receiver, but I feel like that's still an overpay for Swift, big time.
Dalton Cook in PPR. Would you start T. Higgins, Chase Brown, or DK Metcalf? Ooh, that is a good one.
Hang on, I gotta look.
I think it's one of the 2 Bengals.
Yeah,
it's probably PPR. I'd probably still do T. Higgins because being a receiver over Chase Brown. And I said if there's one person that I'm a little bit concerned about, I shouldn't say concerned. Concerned makes it sound bad. If I think there's somebody who's a little bit worse with Jake Browning, it's Chase Brown. So I'll take T. Higgins.
Actually, I'm going Chase Brown.
Break the tie, AJ, or take DK Metcalf and really make us look bad.
That'd be a bad choice. Milk was a bad choice.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in on Rodgers, so I mean that makes sense. I'd go T. Higgins.
There you go. Now, most important part of the show here. If you need a defensive streamer, we have the man, the myth, the legend over here, AJ, streaming defenses.
By the way, nobody else sees these but me and Corey and AJ. The show notes are unbelievably in depth for the defenses. And for the other players, it's just kind of like, I mean, it's there. The defenses have like
I clearly spent
each.
this as my first thing. Well, like I said, I wasn't sure about the whole streamer section because you had your names there. I was like, I know I've been.
Oh, that's because
we
pretty
sure these are still mine. I know. Got it. All right. So, yes, let us get into the defenses.
Oh my gosh!
Crack a new beer.
I'm gonna turn on the game.
All right, so
just tied.
We've spent. Miami's going to win this game. That's what's happening. All right, we are spending a lot of this show and have spent a lot of this show just completely trouncing on the Cincinnati defense, and I get it, rightfully so. They do pretty much suck ass, but as a 7% ownership and them having Browning as the quarterback, Browning was pretty good last week. I think he's going to continue to be decent, but the Cincy D could possibly be on the field a little bit more than they would have, with Joe Burrow. Somebody just scored, so Buffalo is back up. But getting back to Cincy here, Minnesota gave up 10 points at Chicago, and then they gave up 21 at home to Atlanta. So they're clearly another defensive liability. Plus, they have Wentz in at quarterback. So the game's in Minnesota, just like the Atlanta game. I think that this could be a sneaky game for Cincinnati to get some sacks on Wentz. We don't know how mobile he is anymore. He doesn't have a large appendage in the way, but I guess he can move around still okay.
Can't give himself up with that tripod.
That's right. I mean, it's easier to stay erect, if you will, if you have a third leg.
Oh my god. Corey's done. All right, moving on, AJ. Let's go.
All right. Next in line. You can edit that part out.
No, I can't. I don't know how.
Come on. All right. The next defense I have up here is Joe's Commies, 18% owned. Now, I get it. They're only averaging, roughly 5 points a week at the parameters I'm looking at. That said, they did score 9 points at home versus the Giants in week 1, and then a whopping 1 point last week. They only have 4 sacks, no turnovers, but Vegas, on the other hand, has given up 7 sacks, 4 interceptions. And Vegas offense is only averaging 14.5 points a game. So their offense is god awful. And I think, depending on the Mariota effect and how well he's going to do, again, another backup quarterback coming in who hasn't been in a game in, I don't know, 6-7 years, whatever it's been. I think this defense, it's not. I'm being sarcastic. Come on, just fucking roll with it, Joe. God damn it.
They re-signed Preston Smith. There's your pass rush back.
Exactly. So I like the Washington Commies this week to get finally break the seal here and get an interception. Maybe pick up a fumble and at least get 3 sacks. I think that's easy 3-sack game for them. But the crown jewel, if you will, for this week's defensive stream, and the ownership has gone up quite a bit, so I will preface it with that. No, not really, actually. They're still sitting at 28%. And that is the Indianapolis Colts going up the Tennessee Titans. Again, Tennessee's offense averages basically what Las Vegas does, 15.5 points per week. They only have one touchdown on the season, and the rest are all field goals. They have 8 field goals. Their third down efficiency for the Tennessee offense is at almost 28%. So they're not staying on the field, for third downs. They're not making a lot of them there. So it gives your defense some chances. The Tennessee D has also given up an average of 10.5 points a week, including 11 sacks and 3 fumble recoveries. So Colts have been good. Danny Dimes has been good enough, obviously, to keep that offense on the field. But Tennessee sucks. So I'm rolling with the Colts this weekend as my other more owned choice.
And I will say the Streamomatic agrees with you, man. That is a popular defense. It hit the top right behind Green Bay, but Green Bay is rostered too much.
Green Bay is not a streamer.
Yeah, it ranks all the defenses, but then it has the roster percentages and the start percentages. The Colts, I haven't updated the percentages in a day. I didn't update them today, but the Bucs and the Colts are like neck and neck. It's for number 2. So
the Chiefs on the list.
The Chiefs are right there also, but they are actually at 65% roster percentage, so not considered a streamer.
Gotcha.
But yeah. It's the Colts and the Bucs are definitely high up there for me as well. So I like
2 more questions quick and call it a night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should I pick up and start JT Sanders on the Panthers over Mark Andrews? I don't know if I'm quite that far. Man. Like I detest Mark Andrews. I don't know if I'm quite that far, but
no, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I probably would not do that. But
I agree with you. But
I get it, dude. I get it, Zoot.
I mean, it's like I would say is Brenton Strange out there? Is Dalton Schultz out there? Is Harold Fannin out there? Anybody, man.
Schultz was one I almost went after too. Matchup kind of sucks, but he is starting to get targets.
I get not like you should absolutely try to find somebody to start over Mark Andrews. I have to think that some of the names that Joe mentioned though are got to be available over JT Sanders, and I like Sanders, but I want to start those guys. One last one here. Kyren Williams or J.K. Dobbins? I mean, we're still Kyren Williams, right? I don't think he's fallen that far, have we?
No, but well, they are back to back. They are back to back in my rankings.
Who does Denver play? I don't remember.
Chargers.
Pretty good defense. Rams get the Eagles.
Very good.
I would say I was frustrated that Kyren Williams got taken off the field to get a Blake Corum touchdown. It reminds me of another team. Let's see, who took a good running back off the field? Oh, that's right, the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, the Miami Dolphins. Yeah.
For Ollie Gordon.
Yeah.
How's that Ollie Gordon?
I think that just happened, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Just happened. Right. Yeah. Recency bias.
Mm-hmm. All right, everybody. Yeah. That's it for the show. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button. Leave those comments. We'd love to hear from you. And AJ, you just got the smirk on your face like you're gonna say something stupid. I don't even know, man.
Over here taking pictures mentally.
All access memberships are available still over on fantasy6pack.net. Season doesn't stop at the draft, so go ahead and get access to those award-winning rankings. We got tons of DFS and betting content, projections each week, and all the access in the Discord. The Discord is busy this year, man. We got a lot more people in there, and it's awesome, man. I'm happy to be talking to everybody. Use promo code F6PPods to save 15%. And with that said, I'm done with you, AJ. I knew it was coming. I absolutely knew it was coming. I'm going to spare all of you who are not watching on YouTube for what AJ just did. and we will see you next week. Peace.